From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, 12-time Olympic medalist Ryan Lochte and fitness entrepreneur Jennifer Cohen. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Bryan on sound effects, and we finished the first round of March Madness, and now he didn't watch Biden's first press conference, but he did dump out a bunch of Scrabble tiles and tried to read them. So it was kind of the same. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. No choice but to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Bald Bryan.
You don't know me, motherfucker.
Fitz dog. I was just trying to squeeze myself into one of Paul Newman's race cars right before I got here to try to get the seat and the harnesses and everything laid out, put together. It's backbreaking getting in and out of those cars. I mean, I know Newman...
Is that an indictment on the car or indictment on the COVID-15 or whatever we're calling it?
It's an indictment on me. I mean, yeah, that car is caged up. It's got a big cage in it. It's really hard to get in and out of.
Oh no, is this the car you were able to get into before?
Yeah.
Just hop in and out of, so sinewy.
Yeah. Now I'm too long for these cars. Like I am too tall for these cars. But Newman did it, until he was in his 80s, his early 80s.
He was a slight man, right?
I think that was it. I mean, he was probably never over 150 pounds. He was probably about 5'9", 5'8", 5'9". He was always in shape, and he just never had that size. So it's a little different situation. And the seat is super, super tight, but still kind of cool sitting where Paul sat during a race in 2000, I think, at Road Atlanta, the Petite Le Mans.
In that car?
In that car.
It looks fairly modern. I would associate that with the Paul Newman era.
It is a 2000 Porsche GT3 Cup car.
There you go.
And Paul drove in a lot of modern races in a lot of modern cars. There's, semi-modern races. So he started in the late 60s, probably early 70s. So he was driving those old, what would be old now, vintage cars. But he just kept going. And when I
always associate those 80s cars, those of that era, the Apple car and whatever. But then I guess his career extended this car in 2000.
He drove past this. I think his last race was, I don't know, 05, something like that. So he was driving, what would be relatively modern stuff now, all the way through this, essentially this 40-year driving career. So, and at this point in his career, he would just jump in with these teams. They would say, we got a 3-man team. We're doing a 6-hour race at Road Atlanta. Would you like to join us? And then he would just join in and do that one race. He would do it at Daytona. He would do it all over the place because, he was Paul Newman. People knew who he was. He was a big star. They knew he could drive. And they also knew he would jump at the chance if they said, you want to do this race in Atlanta or this race at Daytona, the 24 hours at Daytona. He'd say, yeah, I'm in. And he'd just show up and get in the car. So
this is just like when people ask me to join the trivia teams.
That's right. It's the exact same
thing.
Just draw that parallel.
Look, not as physically challenging as the trivia, but...
Have you done trivia? Have you sat down for a good hard trivia match?
Those bar stools are hard on the lumbar.
Yes, thank you. You got to walk around, walk it off.
So that was Newman, and this is one of his cars. But this isn't really a Newman car. This is just a car with his name on it because he drove it at Road Atlanta, which is a big old track that I've been to a couple of times, probably an hour and a half outside of Atlanta. But it's got his name on it. He drove it at a sanctioned race, so I was able to get the car. And I have not driven it yet because it's not really old enough to qualify for any of my vintage stuff. But they're doing some show on Netflix. They're doing some car racing show. and I'm supposed to race some guy, and they just asked me what car I wanted to bring. So I said, let's bring Newman's GT3. No, yeah, GT3. GT3R. Oh, that's what it was. I kept saying GTR, but it's a GT3 R 2000 Porsche Cup car. So that car's getting all prepped. It's getting in the trailer, and then it's going at the crack of dawn out to Willow. Willow Springs has 3 tracks on it, on the facility. It has the big track, big fast track. I've driven a Trans Am race there, and it got a lot of laps there. Then it has the Streets of Willow. Streets of Willow's the medium-sized track, and that's where they do all the training for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Wow. So all the celebrities show up to that track, and I've turned 2,000 laps at that track because I've done it so many times. And then there's the third track, which I've never seen before, and that's the track we're going to be racing on.
That's the one you'll be doing.
Which I was unaware of. So when I said, where are we doing this thing? They said Willow Springs. And I went, oh, good for me. I got 1,000 laps on the big track, and I got 1,000 laps on the other track. And they're like, yep, but there's a third track, and you've never been on it. So
is it smaller and tighter? Like,
yes,
what's the vibe?
It's smaller and tighter. I think it's called the Horse Thief track? Mile. It's a mile, which is small compared to the big track is 2.5 miles. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a bit smaller. It's 11 turns, pretty technical, and one would have to learn that track. So I'm going to attempt to learn it. I will do that move where I go to YouTube and I try to pick videos out where they have the in-car thing and they tell you turn 3 is an off camber with a late apex, and they try to teach you all that stuff, and it all goes out the window once you start racing. All right, so let's see. I had some notes written down here. We have my Geo went and found my dating advice column, and it was not for Vogue or Teen Vogue, it was for Cosmo.
All right.
So Cosmo, Gina, still around, still going strong?
Oh yeah, that was like that was the most glamorous thing you could get if you were begging your mom for a subscription. Absolutely.
And was it Leah Thompson who was doing the
yes.
So they got
Caroline in the City.
Yeah, man, she was white hot back then. So they got, and let's not forget Red Dawn. She was in Red
obviously.
Dawn.
That
yeah,
goes
obviously.
Without saying.
So somehow they got her for the feminine side of the dating column, and somehow they got me for the masculine side of the dating column.
I'm sorry, before we go any further, don't forget Howard the Duck.
Oh, that's right.
Leah Thompson had a good long run as an under the radar hottie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she was in a ton of movies. All right, so this is a Cosmo dating column from when? 1999 or 7 or something?
The first one that I have here is from September 1997.
Oh, God, I have no idea what I said. What's the question? Go ahead, Dawson.
Help! He's friendly with all his exes. His side. Adam Carolla, co-host of MTV's Love Lines. It says.
Love Lines.
But to be fair to them, that was September. In November, they fixed it to Love Line.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it took them 2 months.
Yeah. To be fair to them, I would call it Love Lines.
Oh, they also spelled your name wrong.
They spelled my name wrong?
But only in September. In October, they spelled it right.
Oh, okay.
They got their act together eventually.
Yeah. All right. What was my advice?
Your advice is, if you want to discourage him from seeing an ex, work the reverse angle. Ask him, what if I were to hang out with some of my ex-boyfriends? That drives the point home pretty quickly. Then again, his friendships could be a sign. When you guys break up, you'll always have him to pal around with. But if he tells you that he and his ex have a case of scotch and are heading to the mountains for the weekend, you've got a right to be suspicious. My personal advice is, the less someone brings their past into their present relationship, the better.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I would always say more mystery, less history. That's my early dating advice. Why are we talking about all the failed relationships? Sorry. Dawson, you got more?
Would you like to hear Leah, or would you like to go on to the next one? Let's go on to the next one.
All right.
No one cares what Leah.
I have Leah.
Gina's got
so
Leah.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Here we go. If they're good friends, and I guess that's possible, you may have to deal with it. Of course, it's best if they've all gained 200 pounds, but many times exes still have a sexual charge that can seem threatening to your relationship. Unless you're so jealous that everything seems suspicious, you should be able to pick up if it's a real vibe between them. If it bothers you, talk to him. Let him know his close friendships with so many past girlfriends make you feel uncomfortable. Hopefully, he'll set your heart at ease.
Nah.
It's okay. Our publicist shit that thing out 10 minutes before the column was due. There's no doubt about it. And then you sounded nothing like Leah Thompson, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Work on that.
Yeah, let's work on that.
Okay.
Next one is, should I ever call a guy first? His side. Adam Carolla, spelled right, co-host of MTV's Love Lines. There's an element of the hunter-prey game to be played, so I wouldn't recommend it. Look, if a guy's interested, he'll call. Chances are, if he doesn't phone you, it's not because he was abducted by terrorists or lost your number. You don't actually ever have to ask a man out. If you just hang around a guy, all you have to do is leave the door open a crack, and he'll scurry in like a roach. Just mention an event, like a new movie or concert, and if he's interested and available, he'll seize the opportunity and call you.
Yeah, that was my thing. You have to bring stuff up. And if you bring up a movie or you bring up an event or you bring up a concert, if the person says, oh, my God, I've wanted to see that, then you're in. Now, you'd be rude not to ask them to go at that point.
Yeah.
Still applies.
Yeah, just and by the way, if it doesn't work, you don't really get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. You know what I mean? You just bring up.
Yes.
You bring up a show. You bring up a concert. Now, if a woman likes you, she will say, oh, I wanted to check that out, regardless of whether she wanted to check it out. Sure. And if she doesn't like you, she will remain silent. And then you can move on because all you've done was bring up a movie.
Yep.
All right.
100%.
And it just fell flat.
Leah?
I mean, or it went nowhere.
Right.
Here's her advice. Get your meat hooks off me, Biff. Oh, wait. Hold on.
That was good.
Here it is. Thank you. You have to use your instincts. If you sense a man might be insecure, maybe you make more money than he does, or he's shy, then making the first move isn't such a bad idea. But it's all in how you do it. Be subtle. We don't like it when a man calls us repeatedly, so figuring they don't like it if we do the same. When you call, say, it's such a nice day. I'd love to go for a bike ride. But one call, and that's it. If he doesn't bite, well, at least you weren't home waiting by the phone. It's kind of your advice.
Yeah. Okay. One more.
From November 1997.
I must have got paid like $180 or something a column.
What should I say about my past? His side. Adam Carolla, co-host of MTV's Love Line.
Oh, finally.
Tell him every gory detail until the point when you lost your virginity. Then draw a blank. I can't think of anything good that could come out of sharing, and I can think of 15 potential bad things. The guy will take bits and pieces of your past and work them against you. A man will ask you to tell him stuff in a playful, amorous way because there's a voyeuristic turn-on quality to hearing stories about his girlfriend and other men. But ultimately, such confessions only harm the relationship. Less history, more mystery.
There it is. Do you remember dictating these to someone?
Yeah, I would probably get on the phone with someone in New York at 2:00 on a Wednesday, and they would just shoot the question out, and I would just spit it back. Yeah, I kind of remember that. I remember I was in my first house, I think, as I recall. All right, Leah?
All right, this is how she starts it. Ooh, boy. I wouldn't say a single thing. I don't think your past love life is really any of his business. You have to have the obligatory talk about safe sex and all, but unless there's a health issue, you needn't go into any details. Nothing positive will come of anything you tell him. If someone dumped you, if you dump someone, you don't trust men, whatever, this type of information is not going to help you in a new relationship. And as for sex, he's the biggest and best lover you've ever had, period.
I agree with Leah. All right. Well, there it is. I had thing that I hadn't thought about in 20 some odd years, and
Nice.
it got jarred with Teen Vogue. But this was Cosmo. Is there a Teen Cosmo? Does
There must be
even?
by now.
You'd think
I
there
don't
would
remember
be by
Teen
now.
Cosmo. But this is great because how many things in this day and age are like, oh, that didn't keep well, and like, well, it was a different time. Thank God the advice still stands.
Yeah, so far, so good.
Yeah, later there's probably ones involving ether rags and duct tape and hey, she shouldn't have been wearing that skirt. She didn't want
Right.
some.
Right.
And
She was
there's a difference between rape and strong arming. Let's get it straight. Don't get it twisted. There's probably
No
a lot
mostly means no.
No
Yeah.
means maybe.
yeah, there's probably a lot of that floating around.
No
Geo
often means no.
sent over 15, so there's going to be some of that
Wow.
floating around there. All right, should we go into the March Madness?
Mm-hmm.
It's time again for the big rants. As we watch the clash of complaints in March Madness. Yesterday in the California Conference, the LAX TSA were sent packing and had to travel out of the tournament after getting beaten worse than an LA taxpayer by Mayor Garcetti. And in the Pop Culture Conference, Alyssa Milano showed the Beastie Boys who was boss and busted the B-Boys bracket. Round 1 ends today with 4 more matchups. Let's check back into the Classics Conference. Buckle up. It's veggie sandwiches versus click it or ticket.
First off, veggie sandwich isn't a sandwich. It's a salad between 2 pieces of bread. Sadly, it's not called a salad sandwich. The best sandwiches in the world end with salad. I love egg salad. I love tuna salad. I love chicken salad. The one that should, and by the way, chicken salad's a bunch of busted up chicken and a metric ton of mayonnaise and a little relish in there. It really doesn't resemble salad. And tuna salad doesn't resemble salad. And egg salad has nothing to do with salad. But a veggie sandwich is, in fact, a salad sandwich. Let's fucking call it what it is. The best part about a sandwich is the meat, followed by the cheese, followed by all the good pepperoncinos and all the things you can put on there. The veggie salad, first off, if you work at a Quiznos or you work at a Subway and somebody says, I want a veggie sandwich, you have to laugh maniacally and think, wow, this is the best day of my life. And if a coworker caught another coworker shooting a snot rocket into it and tried to yell at him, he'd say, it's a lateral move. The person who wants this doesn't want a sandwich. The person who wants this wants to annoy the fuck out of everyone else on the crew before someone goes for a fucking sandwich run. So let's just call it what it is. It is a salad sandwich, and anytime I'm on a production and some asshole, it's always the kooky makeup artist who thinks her cat thinks it's a person, who thinks it's a dog. That's the nutty coos that orders this. Always order a side of turkey. Just get straight turkey and get some jack cheese, because she's going to take 2 bites out of that sandwich. It's goddamn horrible. She'll set it down. There'll be 6 others waiting for her, even though no one on the crew is dumb enough to indulge. And then you can start adding your turkey and start adding your cheese. Chicken, mayo, it's all good on a sandwich. Egg salad, everything is good on a sandwich except for a salad on a sandwich. Fuck you for ordering it, and let's not call it a sandwich. Oh, let's see. Do you announce it, Dawson, or do I announce it?
This one is click it or ticket.
Click it or ticket. This drives me insane because it's all I see on our super expensive network of freeway signs. And it is completely unnecessary because obviously you have a bell and a chime going off inside of your car with a light that is blinking on your dash. Anyone try to drive from the corner gas station 5 blocks to their house without going into a fucking epileptic seizure I'll do it every once in a while. I'll go, fuck it, I don't need to put my seatbelt on. I'm 3 blocks away. A block and a half, I break down and put it on. I cannot take the light, I cannot take the chime that has been built into every car since 1973. But for some reason, we need a sign in the middle of the freeway. Now, by the time you go down your driveway without your seatbelt on, up your side street, down the main street, and get onto the freeway, you have had an alert inside of your car telling you to put your seatbelt on that has gone on an over-under amount of 186 times. If that was not enough to remind you to put your fucking seatbelt on, then I don't think the sign that's 20 foot up in the air off the 101 is going to do it. And I've likened it to this. What if every single pair of slacks sold since 1973 came with a buzzer and a blinking light if you forgot to pull the fly up? Well, if that was in fact the case, there'd be no fucking reason to put it on a sign. It's built into the slacks. So many things could go onto that sign. Oh, we could put, if it steers, it clears. We could put drive like champions. We could put the esoteric, stop blaming your parents. Anything on that sign would be a help other than the waste that is click it or ticket.
I mean, it's the classic conference for a reason. These are time-tested rants. I liked the fly addition to the second one, and to my ears, Gina, Adam seemed more inspired by Click It or Ticket, but what say you?
Well, you're right. This is a real photo finish because there's something about calling the veggie sandwich what it is, which is a salad sandwich that is so incredibly unappetizing just by calling it that. I think you can wipe out people ordering it in perpetuity from now on. But there was something about the invention of the fly buzzer.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm having a tough time with that. I may just default to you because again, salad sandwich, gross. Fly buzzer, genius. How say you, Bryan?
Yeah, I'm going fly buzzer.
Okay.
Click It or Ticket.
Click it or ticket. Let's do it.
All right, Click It or Ticket advances. Next up, we go to our big government conference. Class is finally in session for teachers' unions versus food stamps and school lunches.
Well, I've had my dust-ups famously with the teachers' unions because I'm one of these communist who's not American, who hates paying taxes, who just wants you to go the fuck back to your classroom and do the goddamn job we paid you to do for over a year. My kids have been rotting in the room for over a year because their school is not open. I turned my son over in bed the other day. There were mushrooms growing underneath him. Mushrooms! Hand to God. No exaggeration. Google that shit. There were fucking mushrooms growing under him. That's how long that little shit has been in bed. But as best I can tell, we have examples of heroes going back to work now. They're forklift drivers, they're truck drivers, they're folks that work at Trader Joe's, there's Uber guys, there's fast food guys, there's restaurant workers, podcasters. Every single segment of society has gone back to work. Cops, firemen, garbage men, street sweepers, Caltrans guys. Every segment of our society is back to work except for the one group that we know as heroes. The one group that we know as heroes, teachers. They don't want to fucking go back to work. And we know what they're doing. They enjoy being home. Guess who else enjoys being at home? Humanity. Do you think everyone who fucking works a garbage truck, do you think those guys wouldn't want to fucking be home hammering checks and day drinking like you pussies? Of course they want to be home. Cops want to be home. Firemen want to be home. Guys who work at Safeway and Rouse want to be home. We all fucking want to be home. But the problem is we don't have a huge union that has a pussy governor underneath their fucking thumb. Here's the deal, everyone. Get the fuck back to work. It's your job. And go back to fucking work full time. They're going back to work now. Well, there's a Tuesday, Thursday shift. Then there's a Wednesday, Friday shift. There's no Monday shift. So every day's a fucking 3-day weekend. So you get the entire summer off. You get 3-day weekends. You get every federal fucking holiday. And You know who's paying you? The fucking taxpayers. That is property tax money that goes to your local school. We didn't get a fucking break on the taxes. You should take a break from taking a fucking break. Food stamps in school lunches. Well, doesn't that sound like a good plan? Let's get all these people with food insecurities fed. Well, first things first, if you're 9 and you have a food insecurity, you don't have a food insecurity, you have a fucking mom and dad insecurity. Because those are the people who are supposed to bring the fucking food back to the home and feed the little chicks. Mama bird, daddy bird, what the fuck is going on with you? I would rather take all this money and all these resources and bring it home. Hey, Mom, why can't you get a fucking sack of beans and a sack of rice and a dozen eggs and start doing something for your fucking kids? But it's great because it gets them indoctrinated early. It gets them sucking off the government teat early. So let's get all the 7-year-olds getting the free lunch. And by the way, let's not just hold it to lunch. What about the rest of the meals? Well, let's give them a breakfast. We'll get a breakfast program. Then let's have an after-school dinner program. Then let's have a weekend food fucking program. Well, what the fuck? Of course they're in. They're now on the government teat. And if you check the weight of any of these little fat fuckers, I don't see any food insecurities going on. You assholes are shopping at the Husky section over at Sears. So don't tell me about fucking food insecurities. And as far as food goes, food stamps. I used to be on food stamps when I was a kid. We would go into the store. You couldn't buy cat food. You couldn't buy liquor. You couldn't buy cigars. You couldn't buy cigarettes. There was a lot of rules about what you could do with your food stamps. And guess what? It was shaming. But you know what? It fucking worked, because I would see my fucking troll of a mom talking to the guy at the checkout like, I can't get cat food. No, you can't, adult loser, because you choose not to work. So we don't want to feed your cat. We want to feed your fucking kid. Now every time I pass a Jack in the Box or a McDonald's, it says, oh, food stamps welcome. Come on in, fatter. Get some more fucking processed hormones in your blood. Get a little angrier, get a little fatter, and do a little less.
Wow.
I don't know about you, Gina. I had teachers' unions as a heavy favorite going in. Like, I was like, this is going to be a walk.
Yep.
And as much as I appreciated the accusation that they're day drinking all day, which may be true, the fat fuckers line was fantastic. And Adam somehow, despite hating food stamps and hating his own childhood vis-a-vis food stamps, was able to long for the good old days of food stamps.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for food stamps.
Brian, you and I are completely simpatico on this. I thought it doesn't matter what it is that goes up against teachers' unions. However, there's always a line. There's always a great soundbite you get from an Adam Carolla rant. The line of the day is, you don't have a food insecurity problem. You have a parent insecurity problem.
Deep.
And that really, that was strong. So I'm with you. I say food stamps.
All right.
Upset.
Let's move on to the pop culture conference. It's the Gillette Toxic Masculinity ad, going head-to-head against the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Gillette. Oh, this commercial. What drives me insane is when they throw out something like masculinity and they go toxic masculinity. Let me tell you something, bitches. Any masculinity is toxic masculinity to you asswipe pussies. I get it. And then you go on and show examples of toxic masculinity, and it's two fucking 6-year-old boys wrestling on a lawn while a dad is working the fucking barbecue. If that's toxic masculinity, then I'm Pia Zadora, because this is what guys do. And look no fucking further than the animal kingdom. Do you guys have a problem with young bucks running into each other, young stags? This is how it works. Did you not see Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? That's how we find out who the fucking lead deer is. This is life. This is nature. I know you fucking want to follow the science, but you don't want to follow the fucking science when it comes to masculinity. And by the way, if you check the studies, sperm count down, sexual drive down, guns at an all-time high, and penises are shrinking. Be careful what you ask for. Let me tell you what fucking toxic masculinity got you, bitches. It got you an MRI machine. It got you an F-18 fighter jet. It got you the fucking Golden Gate Bridge. It won every fucking war. It saved every fucking life. So, okay, let's just get rid of masculinity. Good luck walking from San Francisco to fucking Tiburon without a bridge, bitches. What do we got? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Where's our music, Dawson? Oh, I was looking at the 2021 inductees. We got Kate Bush. I don't know what Kate Bush is. I think she used to host Entertainment Tonight. I don't know if that's a different Bush. I think she would just sing in the background of songs that you like. Then we got fucking Devo. We have Devo. Devo is a fucking video game for nerds. It has nothing to do with music. This was sheer nerddom. Don't believe me? Check out their fucking hazmat suits and the stupid flower pots they're wearing on their head. And, by the way, if you're gonna let in Devo, and I'm being dead fucking serious about this, rock and roll. It's right in your fucking name, rock and roll. Devo never rocked or rolled anything. If you're gonna let in Devo, you sure as fuck better let in the Aquabats next year, because it's the same fucking band. These guys had no musical inclination whatsoever. It was a pure fucking novelty act. If we weren't high as kites on Bolivian shale, no one would have ever tapped their foot to a fucking Devo song. And meanwhile, one of the hardest rockers ever born, Miss Pat Benatar, still sits on the sideline. What a fucking slap in the face it is to the great, classically trained, rock and roll in her blood, Pat Benatar, to sit there and watch these fucking nerds be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow. Yeah, for me, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame rant, while fantastic, was more about Devo than it was about the actual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I like the Piazzadora pull. I like the Rudolph pull. Gunts. Tiburon. How do you even know where Tiburon is? I'm going for the toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I loved the finishing strong with the tip of the cap to Pat Benatar, but the idea of walking, of not having the Golden Gate Bridge and walking to Tiburon sold it for me as well. I'm going toxic masculinity.
All right, lastly, we're going back to the California Conference. It's the Forest Lawn Flower Guys versus Graffiti.
Wow.
Forest Lawn Drive is a long stretch of highway. You've heard me speak about this before. It's basically, you get from sort of Burbank, where the studios are, over there toward Glendale, our neck of the woods. It is long. It doesn't have side streets. It doesn't really have signals. It's uninterrupted. So guess what? People tend to speed. But it also has the name Forest Lawn in it, as in Forest Lawn Mortuary. So folks want to sell flowers because people are going to visit their dead Nana and they don't want to show up empty-handed. Well, I've chronicled this in my books before, which is on one side of the street is a bunch of illegals selling flowers that they got down at the flower mart for $8 a bushel, and they're now selling it for $14 a bushel, undercutting every other legitimate florist in the neighborhood. Who the fuck is going to stop at Toluca Lake Florist and pay $37 for a bouquet when they know 10 feet from the opening of Forest Lawn for $12 they can get the same fucking bouquet? And by the way, Nana's dead. Who's she gonna tell? So this goes on, and on the other side of the street is the cop who's on the motorcycle, and he's got his radar gun, and he's backed up the driveway to the Jewish cemetery. I don't blame your people for this, Gina, but we still need to talk about it after the show. And he's got his radar gun fixed. Why? Because they're tax-paying Americans who drive cars that are insured and they're registered, and instead of going the posted 40 miles an hour, they're going 48 miles an hour. And guess who who the cops are going after. Not the person who's here illegally, not the person here with the black market and the cash that they don't pay taxes on, not the people that are undercutting legitimate businesses who have insurance and liability and pay taxes. No, the cops have no interest in them. Who do they have an interest in? The fucking soccer mom who's running late to get her kids to school. Why? Because she has a fucking checkbook. Well, listen, government, you cannot divide your people into folks with checkbooks and folks with fucking empty bags. And if you do, you will turn out like us in current time in goddamn Los Angeles. Graffiti. I came up with a way to stop graffiti on the freeway signs. The most depressing part about living in Los Angeles is not seeing graffiti on sides of buildings, but the graffiti that's on nature. Rocks being desecrated by graffiti. Cacti being desecrated by graffiti. Large barn animals being desecrated by graffiti. And, of course, the freeway signs, which is why we had to put the razor wire around the freeway signs, which is one little detail they missed in Escape from L.A. They knew it was going to be a dark future, but they had no idea how dark it would be. So, whoever was in the props and art department from Escape from L.A. missed that ominous harbinger of a dark and dreadful future. But the freeway signs get fucking tagged. The highway signs get tagged. Every fucking thing gets tagged, and then it stays because nobody cleans it up and nobody takes care of it. I have said put a thin plastic film on the sign. When it gets tagged, simply peel the film off, make it 5 layers deep. Problem solved, but of course that's way too practical for anybody to adopt here in Los Angeles. The thing I love about graffiti is there's graffiti all over the side of the freeway, there's graffiti all over the signs, there's graffiti all over the fucking place, but if some gangbanger tags the sign of my building, if he gets the side of my building, I then get a notice from the city saying you have 2 weeks to take care of this problem or you shall be charged. That's right. The guy who does the graffiti, empty bag. Carolla owns a checkbook.
Wow.
The photo finish. I don't have a strong leaning either way. These strong rants. I like how he brought it around to the empty bag thing at the end, but that's just the benefit of going second. What do you think, Gina?
Yeah, I think they were both really strong, made really good points, felt passionate about both. I just assumed graffiti was going to win out, just hearing the topics. But I got to tell you, some real fire in the belly for that first rant that I think just edged out graffiti.
All right, I'm on board with you. First one it is.
You can find the full bracket of March Madness at adamcarolla.com, and make sure to tune in next week for the Bittersweet 16.
All right. We will bring in Ryan Lochte, although my screen says Bryan on it, but I think that's a typo.
Oh, no, you and Bryan are going to judge callers' inventions.
Oh, sorry, I screwed that up. Yeah, I screwed that up. So we'll talk to them in a second. First, a couple of minutes. First, let me hit Simply Safe. If you've got 30 minutes, then you don't have to worry about home break-ins ever again. That's how quick you can set up your security system with Simply Safe. It's easy to do, and you can do it just hanging around, listen to a favorite podcast, whatever you like. We've used these guys for years. You set it up. If you have to move, you take it down, and it moves with you because there's no wires to pull and there's no holes to drill. You just go to simplysafe.com/Adam. Choose the exact sensors you need, and you can get help from one of their experts. It'll get to your house in about a week. Peel and stick. Batteries last up to 10 years, and you're set up. We all use it. Dawson had it in his apartment, then he moved to a house, and he brought it with him. Go to simplysafe.com/Adam. Get your custom system and free security camera when you use my code, 2 eyes, simplysafe.com/Adam. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and me and Bryan are going to judge your inventions. All right, well, we are back from break. and we're going to talk a little about inventions brought to you by our friends over at KFC. The KFC chicken sandwich, one of the best inventions ever. And they got the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It is zesty. It's got the brioche bun. It's got the pickles. Got the crispy chicken. You can get the classic mayo or the spicy mayonnaise. Nobody knows fried chicken like KFC. You can get your chicken sandwich today on the KFC app. It is delectable. All right, I have some of my inventions. We'll take some of your inventions. I forgot a lot of my inventions.
Let's hear them. You're famous on this show for coming up with inventions, sometimes on the spot.
Well, I will get into some of the deeper cuts, ones I haven't thought about for a while, but sweaty palm pants.
Indeed, ones we have not discussed in a while.
One out of every, when I sign autographs at the end of the show or Mangria bottles or something like that, I'd say 1 out of every 9 dudes has the sweaty palm. And I can always tell the guy with the sweaty palm because before he comes and says hi, you see his right hand just slide down the thigh of his pants. But if he's wearing jeans or Dockers, that doesn't have a lot of absorption. Yeah. I'm thinking about pants like when they have fly fishing vests and they have that patch of material, flannel or something where they can hook all the lures to.
Yep.
I think pants with just on the right thigh doesn't need to be like a hunting vest that is quilted and padded for the shoulder for when the recoil of the gun.
Yeah.
Just a quilted, absorbent flannel pad on the top of the right thigh. Not only does it wick away all the moisture from the palm just before shaking my hand or the politician's hand, but it also lets me know you're a sweaty palm guy. Mm-hmm. And I could then opt out for the fist bump or the elbow tap. Right.
That's right. Know thyself. If you're a sweaty palm guy, this has multiple applications. This could be like for pitchers instead of, doing the Paul cap thing, you put it on a little patch on your shoulder, you know what I mean? Drop those fingers.
I got that. I got Dawson's got one. I've got the HOV, the high occupancy vehicle lane. The baseball cap that it's not really the cap. It's just a hook that hooks onto the headrest of the passenger seat.
Yes.
So anyone behind you, well, you think there's a passenger in there. You just hook it over the top, snap the cap into it, and the fuzz thinks you have a passenger in the passenger seat. I've got, this one I love, my dating app for the elderly, Carbon Dating. Mm-hmm. I'm in love with the name. It says
it's shocking that's not already been adopted.
It is shocking. Of course, my plywood camo. That's useful in riots. It's camel.
That's right.
It's camo gear that just looks like plywood. You can lay flat against a boarded up business, and the angry mob will just go
rush right
past you. Of course,
it's bad when they start to tag you, but you got to maintain your cool.
Right, that's the key. Spray paint can tickle. Of course, the beet bracelet, which reminds you after you go to a restaurant or at home that you ate beets. And that you're not Beats by Ace, that you're not dying internally when you get off the toilet and examine your handiwork after the following morning. Of course, my scented vape smoke, which would mean the world would be your vape oyster, any bathroom, any airplane, any place they say no vaping that has a bathroom.
I wasn't vaping.
Yeah, going there. No one would ever accuse you of it. The Recyclarolla, of course. Rest assured, this is a man show bit, but it's the service that shows up at your house after you pass along, and they just take up all the embarrassing stuff that's in your nightstand or on your computer. Well, now we'll probably scrub your computer.
Oh, God.
As well. Like, oh,
just
God.
Burn it. Incinerate it. Yeah. You never owned a computer.
We got... Somebody's got a fart removal technology for automobiles. Mike from Virginia. Curious about Mike. Mike, 39, Virginia.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, guy.
I was doing my Jim Carolla drop.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, hello? There we go.
That's good.
What do you got?
Okay. Baseman, I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to marry 2 things you like, farts and cars.
All right. Let's do it.
So, ago or so, the higher end, Lexus, Mercedes, BMW, they had the heated seats, right? But then they came with the cooled seats.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, let's go one step further. And when you fart in the seat, let's get an exhaust, and it'll shoot it out the back of the car. I even have an acronym for it because it's activated by the fart. So we got flatulence activated removal technology, fart.
That's good.
I would use this in union with my car invention, the seat gutter. I cannot tell you how many times, especially when I drive that Z car, how many times the ear pods, pop out of the pocket and fall in between the transmission hump and the seat. I can't get my hand down there.
That happened to me 5 days ago, less than a week ago. That happened to me.
Well, if you're
slipped right out of the pocket, right into the gutter.
If your car was outfitted with one of my seat gutters, they'd all just be in a hopper in the trunk. All the coins, all the floss, all the earbuds, all the stuff that popped out of the sweatpants would just end up happily in that hopper back there. All right, now, Mike, this is strong. So you're saying instead of the seat would vacuum the fart out and push it out the back of the car. Mm-hmm.
Right. So you use those air vent holes just in reverse, get a little suction going. And, hey, maybe we get that battery that you always talked about that runs the AC compressor on the hot days. Get a little reverse suction off that battery, shoot it out the back of the car. I don't know about you. When people tailgate me, I usually hit them with the wipers in case,
That's a good move.
Give them a little, hey, fuck off, get wet. And so now I'm thinking if there's a button, maybe I hit them with a little fart,
Well, you're the front runner for the KFC gift card, which we're going to give away to the best invention. So
out of the gate strong.
Thanks, Mike. Storm Chaser 40 from Washington, D.C. as I move down the line. Storm Chaser.
How's it going?
Good. What do you got?
Good, brother. Hey, I'll make this simple because I know how much you hate teachers' unions. I'm going to make kids smarter. It's a little stick, right? It's got looks like one of those pens you use on phones. It's got tactile features to it. It's got different colors. The idea is that it's supposed to allow you to associate, remind you of things as you're studying. But the key is, on the end of this stick goes different smelly oil-releasing, it's like a little cap. And what that does is you use that to smell while you're studying because the strongest sense tied to memory is smell. So you'll sit there and smell that while you're studying, and then when you go in to take your test, you pop that cap back on there, and it helps you remember. The name of it is Common Sense.
Sense. Yeah.
It is true when you get that scent, like we've all done that. Brian's done it. That fresh cut grass smell, and you're right back to football practice in the 9th grade.
Absolutely.
Because you're doing push-ups over the stuff. Like, it does get you right back there. So you're saying, as an example, I'm studying the Civil War that night. As I'm studying the Civil War, I give a little sniff of cinnamon, right?
Right. You do like cinnamon science, mentee math, that sort of thing.
All right. And then the next day I'm back in class. I'm taking a final on the Civil War. I'm having a little difficulty recalling all the information, but I take the little sniff of the cinnamon and it all comes rushing
You're right
back.
there.
Correct. And you have some tactile things on there, things you can twist, things you can look at. So there's more than one sensory input. However, the big one is that sense of smell, and that's why it's called Common Sense, because, quite frankly, it's common sense, but it's spelled, SCANTS. So
I feel like this would somehow quickly transition into the porn world.
Every technology does.
Every technology does. I feel like a lot of guys would just be sniffing their pen, either with their lady or alone, you know what I mean, trying to recall their scent of their girlfriend from high school. But, yeah, I like it, Storm Chaser. This is good. Strong.
Okay, awesome.
Strong offer. With real science to back it.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Harvard studies to prove it. I just, don't have the money to produce it.
It's a good idea. I like that.
It's a little science fiction-y, but a great idea.
Dawson's eating the KFC sandwich right now, so I don't know if he's able to speak, but he's got an invention.
This sandwich is the best invention in the world. this is hands down the best chicken sandwich ever made.
It is
KFC
good.
rules.
You got Invention?
I do. Mine's kind of for like the country club hippie. People like me, when you play golf, as soon as you get to the first green or you're halfway down that first fairway, the shoes come off. You're not going to walk around on the biggest lawn in the world with shoes on. I love to play golf barefoot. But when you're coming in after 9 and you're coming back to the clubhouse, people see you. You're walking around barefoot. They don't like it. So I want a pair.
Do you feel like, I got to feel like playing golf barefoot probably adds a few strokes onto the game.
It's negligible the way I play.
For you? Okay.
It really
Dawson
doesn't
goes
matter.
from 140 to 145.
Yeah, it really doesn't
I haven't
matter.
seen a lot of guys on tour barefoot, but sorry, go ahead.
No, for someone who knows how to play, I'm sure golf shoes really help. So I want a pair of bottomless golf shoes. So that when you're playing the high-end country clubs, people from a distance think you're wearing shoes. But the joke's on them because you're comfortably barefoot throughout the whole course.
Well, I hope the people from FootJoy are listening, but I would also argue it flies in the face of why they invented golf shoes, which is to have bottoms.
Tread.
Sure.
Grip.
No, these are very, very cheap. You can get them for like $12 because they're just the top of the shoe.
Yeah.
All the technology's in the bottom.
That's right.
We don't need that stuff.
No. So the top-down golf shoes. Yeah. All right. I gotta figure out who that market is.
They're like spats.
I think you're leaving money on the table here, Dawson, because I think this is more the surfer guy with the sign at the taco place that says no shirts, no shoes, no service. That guy.
Well, it's versatile. We can definitely branch out and hit other markets, but I want to start with the hippie golfers.
Right. All right. Then we'll go to surfers and we'll go to people in the beach community, and we'll deal with those guys. You know, I was
call them foot drapes.
Foot drapes. I like it. Yeah. I was. They evidently the Hemsworth brothers do a lot of barefoot walking around and surfing and eating and stuff in town. So maybe we could get them as a celebrity models for this stuff.
Right.
And I'm just spitballing here, Dawson. I don't know if you know the guys or not, but certainly worth a try. All right. Waldina, the great Waldina is in. Waldina, 38, Houston. What do you got?
So my invention is a mouthwash heater.
Yeah, I think I've never had an issue with mouthwash being too cold, but I get it. They have, in the bathroom, they have the heaters for the shaving cream.
Right, and I've never seen a mouthwash heater.
Yeah.
Is it room temp?
I can't be the only one with the issue, right?
It might be.
Well, room temp is usually good enough. Everything you throw in your mouth is better a little bit warm, especially when you gargle it around and swish it around. I would argue, and I don't know if they have this or not, but the water picks. You guys know what a water pick is? Shoots the water out thing. I don't think those things have a warmer, and those things could use a heating element as well. But a mouthwash warmer. Well, this is really what you get. This is a gift for someone who has everything, right?
Yeah.
It's good. I kind of like the scent stick a little better, but it's nice, Waldina. Thank you. Thanks for the contribution. Let's see. Let me talk to JT from the San Fernando Valley. JT.
Hey, Adam. How are you?
Hi, Guy.
So my invention today is a remote beeper. You ever sit down to watch TV, but you cannot find that remote that you're looking for? Well, just think about it how you used to have cordless phones with the landline back in the day. You would click the pager just to find the cordless phone. So the same concept, but with a remote. On top of the TV, you have your base. You click the button, and you hope to find the remote.
It could be built into the TV. Just a button on the side. You just boop and just it buzzes or rings or whatever.
I don't feel like this is as big an issue as it used to be, but I don't know why not. Why isn't it? I feel like this is something I used to talk about a lot. Like, where's the remote? Maybe it's that people are doing less sharing of TVs. because the TV I watch, it's in my office, and the remote is where I left it. When you have the one TV in the family room and everyone gets their paws on the remote, that remote could be in the kitchen because someone got up to have a drink and just took it with them.
Oh, you're right. Additionally, remotes, at least in my experience, have gotten much larger. My remote's humongous compared to the little tiny things we had when I was like, a teenager or whatever.
Yeah. When I was a kid, we had an early generation TV remote, and that would be your dad telling you to get up and switch the channel. That was one of the prototypes was going, get up, boy, and go switch it.
Oh, yeah, of course. We had the box on top that you go click, 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 you know what I mean, side to side.
Yeah, you had to push
25 channels or whatever.
Push the buttons. Hey, JT, where are you in the San Fernando Valley?
I'm in Chatsworth right now.
Blah.
I'm a truck driver, so I move around everywhere.
Yeah. Is that your backup beeper you're annoying everyone with?
That is the backup beeper of the truck next to me backing up into a dock.
Oh, and you've been working all through the pandemic, have you?
Yep, I worked every single day through the pandemic.
Thank you, hero. What kind of rig you driving?
Amazing.
I'm driving a Peterbilt
Ooh.
450 big truck, 18-wheeler.
Nice. That's the one. That's the one to drive.
I'd like to get in your sleeper cab.
Yeah, Brian, I'd like to christen that bad boy. Thanks, JT. All right. Well, let's see. We got the fart remover from the car. Mm-hmm. Solid. We got the mouthwash warmer. It was a little pedestrian, but okay. Television remote. I don't know. I'm not in 2021. I'm just not feeling like that's a big problem. I'm going to go with Storm Chaser and Common Sense.
Wow.
It's got, well, it's right in the name. Dawson has another invention.
This is a serious one.
Okay.
This one's actually practical. For those of us who have dogs, especially black labs, and we take them camping, if they're out of the perimeter of the fire, the campfire, you can't see your dog, can't see where it is. Mm-hmm. Now, no, they do make leashes that light up and then stay lit. You got to walk over to it, turn it on, turn it off.
Right.
That's not what you want. You want a dog leash with a light on it, but it's got a keychain fob that you got on your keys.
Mm.
Instead of freaking out going, where's my dog? Just click the thing. Your dog lights up 10 feet away from you. Okay, she's safe. Turn the light back off.
Or
done.
The inside of a bear's belly lights up.
Glow.
Glow. He's just sitting there finishing your dog's leg, and his belly just starts glowing like E.T. Yeah. All right, I'm going to give this to Storm Chaser. Storm Chaser.
Yeah, what's up, Adam?
Even though you have an unfortunate name, I'm going to award you with the KFC gift card because
I'm only using my handle, so you'll be able to find me on Twitter and finally follow me back, Adam. And after I get the KFC card, can that guy give me the fart remover?
Yeah, I don't. I think it's still in the testing. They're probably still in R&D right now. Yeah. Probably contracting with a Chinese company at this point. But we'll keep you posted. All right. Thanks for those inventions. Pretty solid.
Good.
And thanks to new KFC chicken sandwich. Best invention ever. And you can check out the sandwich today on the KFC app. We'll be right back with Ryan Lochte and Jennifer Cohen right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
I'm on the middle of I-70 in the middle of nowhere in Illinois, and there was just a highway sign that said, March Madness can turn to sadness with a DUI.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
So we've got a rhyme. Ryan Lochte is here. He's 12-time Olympic medalist. Jennifer Cohen is a fitness personality, best-selling author, entrepreneur. And they join the Adam Carolla Show. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
So we'll get into the online workout program and how that goes. It's probably never been a better time for that. I know I heard, Ryan, that you just beat a young kid in a swimming event. That's got to be pretty good because you're looking to make the Tokyo team, right?
The kid was 6.
I love it how you say young kid because, I mean, anyone I go against now is young. But yes, I'm here at a swim meet in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I'm taking today off of the swim meet, but yesterday I had 2 great swims. And I'm right on track to make the Olympic team and do great things this summer.
This would make you the oldest male swimmer in U.S. Olympic history. Is that true?
Yes, it will. And hopefully that happens and I can get another medal, and then I'll go down as the second most decorated Olympian of all time under Michael Phelps.
And is Spitz under that, or is it like trying to like Natalie Coughlin?
Right now,
Torpedo.
Yes, I'm tied with Natalie Coughlin and Dara Torres.
Swimming is weird because you don't think of it like 36 is not really old for a boxer, but it's old for a swimmer. And the many guys in the NBA, it's not that old. I mean, it's a younger sport, baseball you could play, but I didn't know swimming was that way. It's a little misleading because every time you go to the local YMCA, there's always a bunch of 85-year-olds that are in the pool. It's like, this must be something you can do. Maybe just do it at the beginning of life and at the end of life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I think it's one of those sports. It's one of those sports that you use every muscle in your body. So it does take a toll on your body. So I think that's why there's younger kids. And then, I mean, it's a great workout. I mean, anyone that if you go and swim like 10 laps, you're going to be exhausted. So it's definitely a great workout.
And Jennifer, what is your background and what was your sport, or what is your sport? Sorry.
What's my sport? I didn't do anything as well as Ryan. Let me put it that way. Come on. No. I wasn't an athlete at all like that. My role with Ryan is totally we merged together to do this digital fitness platform together, because my background is much more business in the health and wellness space. And so we met, and Ryan always gets asked a ton. I mean, I even see it, like, what does he do to stay in shape? What does he do to get fit? What does he do to get ready for the Olympics or be this kind of athlete? And so that's why we're like, why don't we put together this great platform where people, fans of yours, or people who are aspiring swimmers, or just people who want to get really fit or just want to work out, they can actually work alongside you in real time and do it with you. And that's how the whole thing kind of came about. And that's when we took my company called Suprema Fitness, and we kind of power his whole Loch'd In Training platform. And the rest is history. And we've been doing it now for not that long, about a month and a half or so.
Yeah. Brian?
I'm curious about the diet aspect. Is there? I assume there is a nutrition aspect, but Ryan, when you're training and in competition, you must churn through an insane amount of calories. Obviously, you're not going to recommend that to the average person, but how do you do it, and when you're in competition, and how do you advocate?
Well, let's just say my nutrition has gotten a lot better. I can't have a candy bar and still be shredded anymore. If I have a candy bar, I see it the next day. So it's just that's just with age. You're getting older, your metabolism is not as fast as it used to be. So I used to be able to eat 8,000 calories a day, can eat Domino's pizza and wings every day nonstop. It's not that anymore. I'm starting to become smarter outside of the pool, and I'm actually watching what I eat and what I take in my body, because I'm starting to realize it does have an effect on not my performance, but my overall attitude as well.
I always think about swimmers because most of us, when we exercise, we got the TV on, we got the earbuds in, we'll be listening to music and watching SportsCenter, something like that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, even a half hour on a treadmill feels so monotonous. It just feels like, God, we need stuff in front of us to distract us. And in swimming, you're just looking at the floor of the pool, right? I mean, you don't get to.
This is the backstroke out of it. You look at the ceiling.
Then you look at the ceiling, right? Yeah. And you don't. But no, I'm gonna turn this into a compliment, which is, it's a mental thing as much as it's a physical thing. I mean, most people aren't mentally cut out to spend that many hours just hearing the sound of their own breath, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I know they have like aquatic earbuds now, I think, but this is a relatively new thing. Like if you're going to swim, you have to be, it's sort of a deprivation chamber. Like the sound is not, you're not hearing the sound. You're certainly not watching the screens. You can't, you can jog on a treadmill and still text or talk on the phone or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So is that something you're born with? Because it seems like a wiring to me to be, and how many hours do you go in a training session?
So I train about 9 times a week. Each training session is about 2 hours long in the swimming pool, or sometimes my coach likes to just kick our ass and we go even longer. But that's just in the pool swimming. So, I mean, you can say every pool has about over 1,000 black tiles on the bottom. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. It's kind of what you said. Like when us swimmers, we get in that water, we kind of block out everything, and you're just like zoned in, and you're just like going back and forth. You're doing like your sets that you have. You're racing everyone. For me, I found the love and passion for the sport of swimming again. I lost it after 2012 Olympics. It started becoming a job. So I found that love and passion again. And I'm having so much fun every time I go to the swimming pool because I'm racing the top guys in the entire world, like the fastest sprinter in the world. I'm racing him every day and we go head to head, and I'm just having so much fun getting involved in the sport again and teaching these young kids things that I've learned throughout my swimming career. So it's so much fun right now.
Gina?
We hear from, Phil Jackson back in the day and Tiger Woods, from the doc that just came out about him, and from so many athletes, the power of visualization and getting into sort of a meditative state. And that seems to be a little more, for lack of a better word, mainstream, something we could all probably benefit from and we're all sort of a little more familiar with. Has that ever been a part of your routine, or how does that work for you?
I'm starting to do that more often now than I ever did before. I took this from Michael Phelps, actually, before 2016 Olympics. Right when right before the year before 2016 Olympics, he took a break and then he came back and he said, I mentally prepared myself. I went through visualization. And I went through every scenario, every good thing, every bad thing that could happen in my races, like going to the pool, getting a speeding ticket, being late for warm up, like things like that. He went through every scenario. So when it came time to actual race day, he already went through the whole scenario. So he was just calm and he could just do what he did and just race and have fun. And so I'm starting to do that now, where I'll be laying in bed right before I go to bed and just visualizing, me listening to my, what I normally listen to, like Lil Wayne on the way to the pool, warming up, high-fiving other people, like just shooting the shit kind of thing before I get into the water and do my normal warm up and I'm starting doing that. So I'm taking a little tricks that I've learned from the greatness.
Nice.
The guy, when I was growing up, the big name was Mark Spitz. And Mark Spitz was such a badass. He had, 6 gold, maybe 7 gold. He was the guy who had all the records for a long time.
Big deal, yeah.
But the thing about Spitz is he had a full chest hair and he had a full 70s porn mustache. Like
porn mustache. Yeah.
God knows how many medals he could have won if he was just willing to get out the fucking shaver.
It off,
yeah, because you would never see a swimmer with a beard, would you? Like that would be that'd be insane.
Never.
And and a big bushy like 70s mustache and a chest full of hair. I mean, those are precious tents, man. They gotta add up.
Oh yeah.
7 gold medals.
And in swimming,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, in
72.
swimming, tents you need everything.
Hundreds.
Yes. Yeah, hundreds. Yes. I mean, 1/10 of a second in a race could mean you getting first to 4th. So
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I think the world has kind of caught up. Everyone knows all the techniques. I mean, everyone is strong. Americans usually dominate, I guess. I'm not sure why in swimming, but there's Who are the other powerhouse swimming countries?
Oh, I mean, I haven't been in the swimming community for quite some time. I mean, Australia is always a big one.
Right.
Japan, they're definitely big. Russia is always big. I mean, there's so many countries out there that are just dominant. But like you said, like USA is usually always dominant. And I think one of the biggest things is that we come together and we come together as one, and we have each other's back. So in other countries, you don't really see so much of like the guys cheering for the girls or the girls cheering for the guys. It's almost like kind of a one-sided team. With the US, like we're all right behind each other. We're getting behind, Katie Ledecky, or back in the day, like Dara Torres, Natalie Coughlin. Like we're getting behind them and rooting for them because how they do impacts us. So I think that's why we're so dominant.
Do you know how much does adrenaline factor in helping or hurting? Like, because your best times and your average times 1,000 before you show up, right?
Yeah.
And so you know how long it takes you to complete whatever the event is. Do you find that the adrenaline of the Olympics in the crowd helps or hurts, like on average?
For me, I think I'm just one of a kind Olympian. I'm just like calm. I don't really have much adrenaline running into me. I know there's some people that are like beating their chest before they get up on the blocks or anything, but like how you see right now, how I am, I'm like that walking up to the Olympics. I'm like, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
So,
what are we going to eat after our race tonight? Or like something like that. Like I'm not, cause I've done it so many times in swim practice. I've done my race so many times where I don't have to really think on how do I need to do this race any different ways. So.
Are your Olympic times the same as the last time you ran it hard in practice by and large?
No, that's, in practice, it's completely different than racing. I mean, you do count, the pools are sometimes a lot faster. They're made specifically for the Olympics. So the depth has something to do with it. So everything comes into play. The atmosphere, the crowd, walking out to the blocks in the Olympics, you just hear like Team USA chanting like USA, USA. And it just like, you get excited. For me, I just get pumped. I'm like, yes, it's race time. Like mano a mano, you get to step on those blocks and see who wants it the most. And to me, that's excitement. And that's what makes me go faster. But I don't think about like my time or anything like that while I'm swimming or before the race.
How much are you aware of what's going on around you in the pool when you're racing? I mean, you can see the person to your right and your left.
Yes, it depends. You do in certain strokes, like freestyle, you breathe to both sides. When you do the flip turns, you can breathe. When you're underwater, you can look to your left or right. But that's about it. For the most part, when the starter says swimmers step on the blocks, like you get zoned in and you're in the tunnel and you're in your own lane. You're just ready to go.
Hey, Jennifer, I had a question about working out that I'm curious your thoughts are on. I don't want to leave you out of the conversation, but I've.
No, I'm learning a lot. This is actually interesting because before we did this podcast with you, when Ryan won yesterday, he sent me the video and I was asking him all the same questions that you were asking, like, what are you thinking about, like in the water? Like,
and I was like, Jen, just watch the video and then call me later.
Right, but I just wanted to know, like, while it's happening, like, are you thinking, oh my God, am I beating this guy? Am I losing? Like, what's going through that head of yours?
Jennifer's like, why swimming?
Yeah, that's another
I mean,
question
I
I'm
sometimes
asking
ask that question all the time. Why swimming?
because it's a very like you're to your point, like you're by yourself for so long in the water.
Yeah.
You can't like text people. You can't listen to music. You can't like watch a movie. There's no distraction. So that's why I'm like riveted by these the same questions. But sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Now I got another question for Ryan. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'll just hang up.
No. I'm curious. I talked to Dr. Drew about this at some point. You know, Dr. Drew likes to lift heavy weights. That's what he loves. His body responds. He likes it. Like he likes lifting like Olympic style weights. That makes most people miserable. I found myself going insane, like running on a treadmill, but I like a rowing machine. I'm fine with a rowing machine. There's something about that. And I think people just tell people to exercise, but they don't really think about what fits them. Like what they would, what are you going to do every day? If your body doesn't really like it, I mean, you know, you'll kind of see it, you know, you'll have I got a dog and my dog's a Labrador. My dog goes in the pool. He doesn't work out like Ryan, but he likes to go in the in the pool, whatever. And then there's
weighs about as much as Ryan.
True. And then there's other dogs that they're not bred for it. There's like dogs that root. There's dogs that run. You know what I mean? So maybe people are kind of that way too, and maybe you should find that sport or that exercise, whether it's the elliptical or the rowing machine or the treadmill or boxing or something, just say, or dance, you know, that thing you do, that thing you want to do. What are your thoughts on that, Jennifer?
Well, first of all, I always tell people, like, find something that you like to do, because to your point, if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. So it doesn't matter. People always ask, like, what's the best exercise to do to lose weight, to burn calories? And at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it or you don't like, it's what you hate the least is basically what I tell people. Do what you hate the least, because none of it, if I was honest, is always enjoyable. You like the after effect, like after you finish, people are always like, they're happy that they did it. No one's ever like, oh, you know, I really wish I didn't do that workout. But, you know, to get them to that point is the hard thing. So what's good about now and with the whole pandemic is that there's been so many different virtual types of workouts that popped up that people can do for free. They have free trials. They can go on YouTube. They can find and kind of do trial and error, like kind of try a lot of things, see what works for them, what they like or what they hate the least, and then kind of go with that, you know, because the reality is, like, you're going to have to do something. I mean, weights, to like for Dr. Drew, the reality is that does burn the most calories. It does like get the most, you know, after burn and after effect. But if you don't like it, and you're not going to do it, then you got to find something else. Like there's dancing for people who like dancing, running. I mean, there's so many things right now, or always, it's just finding what you like or hate the least. And like with Ryan, you know, when we work out with Ryan, he just because he's great in one area, like I guess his endurance and his swimming, doesn't mean he's great. No offense, Ryan, in the strengthening.
Yes.
He hates it, and it's like a grind every time, and he's not great at it. I'm just going to be honest. Like it's not.
I'm a fish out of the water.
You literally are a fish out of the water. Right?
Thank you so much for giving us a stars they're just like us moment, because I don't think any of us think we can keep up with Ryan.
You can, trust me, you can.
Ouch.
I mean, no. Like, but it's good for people to understand. Like he's like a beast when it comes to swimming. But like when it comes to like work, you know, lifting weights in the gym, you know, like he does it. Is he crushing everything? No, like it's a push, but he knows he has to do it to get stronger and better in other areas. So with people, you just people have to find the reason, their why as to why they want to do it, and then kind of reverse engineer to get to that place.
Ryan, you got suspended for 10 months after the whole Rio de Janeiro gas station debacle. When you got suspended for 10 months, were you thinking, all right, I'm done with swimming? Or was it a good thing, like a time to reflect, a time to reprioritize? Like, how'd you process that 10 months?
I was on the, let's just hang up the swimsuit, the cap and goggles. I had a good run, and let's just call it. I mean, I was in a dark place, so I didn't want to really be around anyone. I didn't want to do the thing that got me to where I was at. I just wanted to be done with pretty much everything. Until about when my son was born, is when I started falling back in love with the sport of swimming again and finding a purpose basically in life. I was finding myself and wanted to teach my son things in life. And I think that's when I got back into the swimming pool and was like, hey, you know what? Let's do this one more time. Let's see what I got.
So overall, it was a weird blessing versus a curse.
It was a weird blessing. I mean, I took some time off. And then if I was like, you know, if I'm going to do this again, let's go back to where it started, back to where my college career started, back to where my swimming career started. So I moved the family back to Gainesville, Florida, to the University of Florida, and swim under my old coach. And I've been there since, and just grinding every day, waiting for this moment this summer.
Can you, so I want to circle back to that part where you can just count the pool tiles and the grout lines for 2 hours at a time, which sounds, it sounds like a prison sentence to most people.
Yes, it does.
But, but then if you went to the DMV and you had to wait in a long line, would you be going out of your skin like most everyone else? Or when you're just at home, like, when I go home and twice a year the power goes out and I literally panic. I'm like, what am I going to do now? Am I going to read? I'm going to have to get a candle. Am I
Go in the pool.
Talk to my kids? Like, this is insane. I have no TV. I have nothing. And it's like, it's an insecurity. Like, it's a real, like, oh my God, the power's out. But it seemed like if I had the mindset where I could swim 3,000 laps in a pool, then I could also just sit quietly at home and light a candle and read a book. Is that the wiring, or you turn it on and off?
I think it is the wiring. You know, swimming doesn't just teach you how to count the tiles on the bottom of the pool or swim fast. It teaches you a lot more, and discipline is one of them. You know, if I was in that situation where the power went out, I'd try to make the most of it. I'm like, what kind of games can I play right now? Like, I can teach my son how to build like a fire pit or something, or teach my kid how to do something. And like, just make the most of it. I think that's what you got to do. You got to make the most of it. And you, like, with swimming, whenever I get too into my head, I have to like take a step back and take a couple deep breaths, and then calm myself down and then move forward from there. If you just like start like freaking out, like being, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? The power's out. Like, you can't do that. You just got to like take a step back, take a couple deep breaths, and then move forward.
What's the,
that's what I do.
Speaking of moving forward. So what is the schedule now? The Tokyo Games are when?
The end of July.
And so walk us through the between now and making the team. Like, how many guys? I mean, do they have alternates? Do they have just one person for each event?
So,
like, how's that work?
So I think it's like the second week of June is our Olympic trials, where all the swimmers in the U.S. go to compete. You have to win in each event in order to become known as an Olympian, to make the Olympic team. From that selection, I think there's like 13 events. From that selection, they usually pick the top. So basically, they kind of pick the top two of each event. So if you make top two in each event or any event, you basically make the Olympic team. And then from there, they do relays. So they pick the top four in certain events, like the 200 and 100 freestyle. They pick 6 athletes, the top 6. And then they make a relay out of that. So Olympic trials is basically our main event I mean, since we're so dominant in the sport that if you make the Olympic team for the U.S., you're basically almost considered 90% chance you're going to make it an Olympic gold medal just because on how dominant we are.
Yeah, it's kind of. Is it kind of like
Olympic trials I think it's more intense than the Olympics. To be honest.
No, I could see that. I mean, it probably have a great sense of relief once you've like made the team.
Once you make the team, you're just like kicking back. You're like, oh yes, I can enjoy this right now.
So what do you think how are you feeling about your chances in July? Or June? I don't remember what it was.
I was a little shaky. I just know I've been just training my ass off. And I've been seeing times in practice that I haven't seen since back in 2011 when I broke all those world records and beat Michael Phelps. Like I haven't seen times like that since recently, which I'm way older than I was. And I don't know how that's possible. And up until last night I swam a swim meet and my time was right off my best time that I've ever done in season. So it's like, I definitely have a load of confidence going into Olympic trials. Like I'm ready. I'm more mentally prepared than I've ever been, for any Olympics. And physically, like I know I have 2 more months left, but I'm getting ready and I'm freaking excited. I'm pumped. It's going to be fun.
We'll be watching because I feel like with all that's been going on in the world and in our country over the last few years, for sure, I just feel like we need a good Olympics. We need to cheer. We need to get into
Something
that.
we can get behind.
Something we can get behind.
And you know what? The best thing about the Olympics is it's the one time in the whole world where everyone comes together.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I love the Olympics so much. It doesn't matter where you came from, who you are, what color you are, like everyone comes together to do one thing and compete at the highest stage in sports. And I love that so much. And like you said, like it's something that the whole world needs.
Well, let me give you a plug, the online workout program, Loch'd In Training, and it's live and on-demand workouts, and you can subscribe as well. And you can go to the website, Loch'd In, it's LOCHDIN training.com. Ryan, Jennifer, thanks for joining us here today.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be watching.
And Natalie says hi. I just let her know you were on, and Natalie Coughlin, and she goes, please tell him I say hi.
Yes. Oh, I miss her. I haven't seen her in forever.
She says you're a great guy. She's a big fan.
Oh, tell her thank you, and hopefully I see her soon.
Yeah, if you talk to Dara Torres, you can thank her for cutting me off at the Long Beach Grand Prix on the turn 1 3 times in a goddamn row and taking me out of the race. So if you see Dara, tell her that. All right, we will. Let me hit Lifelock here. Lifelock, IRS warning, everybody. New scam to steal electronic filing identification numbers from tax professionals over emails. Tax pros should be aware of the latest phishing scams. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives every day. We put our info at risk on the internet. In an instant, cyber criminals could harm your finances, your credit. Good thing there's Lifelock. Lifelock detects a wide range of identity threats like your social security number for sale on the dark web. If they detect your info has been potentially compromised, they'll send you an alert. So protect yourself with Lifelock. Right, Dawson?
No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can keep what's yours with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Join now and save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com. Promo code Adam. That's LifeLock.com. Promo code Adam for 25% off.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do the news right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking Being viral, weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina Grad. Stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden, Kamala. Beat news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, we had that awful shooting recently at the supermarket in Colorado, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. A heavily armed man has been arrested as of Wednesday afternoon at a supermarket in Atlanta. That was just 2 days after the shooting at the market in Boulder, Colorado. Police say 22-year-old Rico Marley entered a Publix store and was seen walking to the restroom carrying a rifle. A shopper notified the store manager, who called 911. That prompted a big police response. The man, who's been identified as a 22-year-old Rico Marley, was detained as soon as he walked out of the bathroom, found 2 long guns, 3 pistols, and he was wearing body armor. Police say no shots were fired. Unclear, as always, whether his intended, intention was to carry out a mass shooting. But, that's the stuff that was caught on him. And he was charged with reckless conduct.
Very scary. And these things always seem cyclical. Seem like one begats the next.
Yeah.
Or it seems like there's no school shootings, and then there's 2 school shootings, and then there's no school shootings.
Well, that was the big void, thank God, in the news cycle the past year, right? Because we weren't in
COVID
school.
Silver lining.
Yeah, there was no. We didn't have these active shooter stories.
No, probably had
everything was closed.
Probably had 100 kids shoot themselves in the bedroom, but we didn't have any actual school shootings. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
I don't know.
More of those.
Again, my tack grows. Supermarkets need an attack grows. I mean, I know we kid about everything, but I was just watching a clip of Joe Biden at some laboratory or facility or something, and he was going, cancer sniffing dogs. No, it's a thing. Like there's cancer sniffing dogs. I was like, yeah, I was talking about that 20 years ago. Like, we use animals. We use them all the time. We eat them. We hook them up to harnesses. We get them to sniff out cancer and bombs at the airport. Like, let's get my tack crows going, man.
Yeah.
I saw the same clip. Biden was like, I read about it in Cosmo.
All those
Leah
years ago.
Thompson, really sharp.
Speaking of that clip, I'm just doing this off memory, so hopefully I'm not misquoting, but I think old Uncle Joe was like, and we have dogs that can cure cancer. So I think he was a little famished.
He was a little off, but,
For Joe, that's pretty close.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty close. That's close enough. And, semantics, if they can spot the cancer, then we'll let the oncologist cure it. But yeah.
And remember your STD sniffing dogs for the Bachelor contestant casting.
Yes, and bachelor parties in general. But yes.
Right. Yes, thank you. Well, another
like
attack,
God's honest. You go to these supermarkets, these facilities, these places, they always have this crazy vaulted truss ceiling. Like they don't normally have an 8-foot ceiling. They got a lot of room up there. Couple of crows, one on this right side, one on the left side, just ravens, just sitting up there, just looking around. That if anyone pulled out now if a kid pulled out a mop and held it up, like it was a soldier, that kid would get hit too. Like, and we'd have to put some signs on the door. But
worth it.
A guy comes in, pulls out the AR, and the thing just dive bombs his head. That would slow him down. Certainly.
Absolutely.
You know how we talked about at the beginning of, sort of the beginning of the pandemic, when we said, if you're going to invest in heat lamps and outdoor furniture, because that's, restaurants have to. Here's a new one for you. Invest in something that, to my knowledge, doesn't exist yet: bird diapers. Because, everyone's like, oh, you don't want them shedding all over the Costco. So we'll take care of that too with the bird diaper.
I don't know
Not a
if
big deal.
You good luck putting it on, is what I would say to you with a raven. If I know ravens, I
would have changed the bird diapers.
I would imagine that they would have their perch. That perch is where they were trained to hang. And the underneath that perch would be basically that pan you put underneath the leaky transmission in the garage. You know?
Okay, maybe that makes a skosh more sense.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I'm just getting a breaking news alert right now. I'll have more, later if there's more. But the headline from the LA Times is USC to pay $1.1 billion to settle decades of sex abuse claims against gynecologists.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And
I have friends who went to that doctor.
Well, I hope that
He
they're
was the
on the
campus
class action
guy. He was the
list.
campus OBGYN.
Oy vey. Well, I'm going to read you the first couple of lines. USC has agreed to pay more than $1.1 billion to former patients of campus gynecologist George Tyndall, the largest sex abuse payout in higher education history. The huge sum was revealed Thursday in LA Superior Court as lawyers for a final group of about 700 women suing the university told the judge that they had settled their claims for $852 million. And USC previously agreed to pay thousands of other alumni and students $215 million in a 2018 federal class action settlement. Their endowment department is going to have to work overtime to make up this money.
They're good for it.
It sounds like a 80s TV show, like Dr. Rex Dexler, campus gynecologist. You've heard of a big man on campus? He's a big hand.
This week, a yeast outbreak at Tridelt.
It's also got to be a weird thing where, like, if you're a campus gynecologist, especially USC, if you're sitting next to a dude on a plane and you go, "What do you do?" And the guy goes, "I'm a gynecologist," and the guy goes, all those old women with infections and I don't think I get a campus
Oh, I'm in.
That's
Tell me
different.
more.
I'm at Arizona State. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. Yeah.
By the way, two words that are way too close together, speculum and speculoos. That cookie butter from Trader Joe's, speculoos.
I didn't even know that one.
That is.
Oh, it's cookie butter, and apparently it's like Danish, but Trader Joe's made it very popular here.
No shit.
Don't mix those up. Another attack.
Or do,
combine
because
them,
a cold, dry speculum, I'm told, can be very uncomfortable.
It's true.
Thing, right.
Another attack that's been thwarted, an NFL player being called a hero by police for helping to save a retired school teacher from an attempted rape in Tempe, Arizona. Justin Herron and Murray Rogers, he was another bystander credited with stopping the attack. So the two were presented, and he's I think a rookie with the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. They were walking through the park. A 30-year-old man was attempting to sexually assault this 71-year-old woman in this public park, according to police. Herron and Rogers heard her screams for help. Herron, 6'5", offensive lineman, just completed his rookie season. There you go, with the New England Patriots. So he was just taking a walk. He heard this attack. He held the attacker until the police got there. Rogers says he was in the park for his daughter's birthday and kept the suspect from fleeing. And here's what Herron had to say about it.
All my years, my parents always talk to me about it and just say, like, if there's someone in need, make sure you can help them, and be the best you can be, and just, like, if someone needs your help, go help them. And I never thought this would happen, and I don't want it to happen again. I don't want to have to save someone else's life again. But I'm glad that I was able to save someone's life, on Saturday.
A 6'5" offensive lineman takes you down for trying to rape somebody. I mean, my God.
Yeah, that is luck of the park rape draw right there, right?
Yeah.
Because pumped, you could just have some hobo walking around drunk on Thunderbird or something like that. He's not doing anything. He's not calling.
God, I'm only going to be a punter.
Right. Placeholder.
Yeah.
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 Good.
Jay Leno has apologized for making anti-Asian jokes during his career, but not the kind of PR apology that we're used to. During a Zoom call with the leader of an Asian American activist group, the former Tonight Show host said he regretted his words. Leno, who came under fire in 2019 for making fun of Koreans eating dog meat on the set of America's Got Talent, said Here's his quote. At the time I did those jokes, I genuinely thought them to be harmless. I was making fun of our enemy, North Korea. And like most jokes, there was a ring of truth to them. At the time, there was a prevailing attitude that some group is always going to complain about something. So don't worry about it. Whenever we received a complaint, there'd be two sides to the discussion. Either we need to deal with this or screw them if they can't take a joke. Too many times I sided with the latter, even when my heart knew it was wrong. Guy Aoki, the leader of the Media Action Network for Asian Americans.
Back.
Lucky for Jay, Guy has accepted the apology. Jay says he hopes the Asian American community will be able to accept it as well.
Is Guy digging deep now back to the 90s? Like,
No, this is 2019.
The joke was?
Yeah. This is when he was messing around on America's Got Talent.
I thought it was tonight's show. Sorry about that.
He's done. The problem was, if Leno's 70 years old, these tropes, we grew up with these tropes for so long. There were literally jokes, Polak jokes, and it was always eating the dog jokes with the Koreans and stuff. Like, there were these jokes. They were just kind of ubiquitous. Nobody seemed to care.
Chinese food, half hour later, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they were
that's true.
They were just jokes, and they were just ubiquitous. They just were everywhere. And then people just told them on schoolyards or in bars and stuff like that, and nobody cared. So folks like Leno went so long without anyone caring, and then in the last 10 minutes, everyone cared, and he can't snap out of that mode, which is the problem.
By the way, just so when he said there's a ring of truth or whatever, there is a Korean dog meat festival, right?
Well, that's also kind of
Gina Grad is the person you're looking to cancel.
Well, here's the thing. My friend Leslie adopted her dog from Korea and I was told saved it from such a future. So this is
she
this
told
is a
me
thing, yes?
She told me it was delicious.
But
Jesus.
Yes, well, here's the other thing.
The Yulin Dog Meat Festival. I just looked it up.
There are certain things that happen to be true that are separate from one culture to the next culture. And comedians, that should be fair game for comedians. The problem is you don't say, if you're telling a joke, you don't go participants at the Yulin Dog Eating Festival,
right?
XYZ. You just go Koreans. Oh, do you have some dog? That's where everyone gets in trouble. But I would sort of argue that certain things are they're traits of certain cultures, and I don't know, not all Germans eat sauerkraut, but by and large, they probably consume more sauerkraut than they do in Australia. So if someone shows up with a plate of sauerkraut, I think you're allowed to say something German. That's the way I like it. But that's
you've spoken.
There's no room for guys like me anymore in this society.
Well, speaking of which, there might be room for one more because Sharon Osbourne is lawyering up against CBS. According to Page 6, she's hired powerhouse lawyer Jeremiah Reynolds in her negotiation with the network, which is investigating reports of an alleged, quote, racially insensitive and hostile environment on the show. The allegations came after her heated on-air debate, which we played, with Cheryl Underwood over race and Piers Morgan. Sharon reportedly expects to be fired, but she definitely would like to go with a pretty sizable payout. The talk is still on hiatus with this.
What is it just me? I mean, like, I saw that argument. It was a lively argument, but it was just an argument. I mean, the format of the show is like hot, no holds barred, spirited argument. Let your, check your. If you can't handle the truth, don't watch this show. So, like, they had an argument, they had a disagreement. It was fairly civil. I don't know that anyone made any statements that they needed to walk back.
Let me speak to that. I can help you with that. Apparently, this was sort of the, when there's smoke, there's fire. And then it was all about the stuff that Sharon was saying in her dressing room and making racially insensitive jokes and things like that.
Oh, all right. But
So that's the investigation.
the investigation. But you
Yes.
can still go the fuck back to work the next day, can't you? I mean, you had
No,
a fucking
very much not.
You had a
show's canceled.
You had a dust up in a show that sort of advertises itself as the place
Yes.
to listen
We're
to
gonna get
dust
into it.
ups, right? We're gonna get into it. We're gonna have Bill O'Reilly come on as a guest, and we're gonna give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that's as advertised?
That's what they said. Yeah.
Everyone
But now
has
the
to just,
show's on hiatus because of a debate and some backstage comments I got to go figure out.
right. So the original member, Julie Chen, had a situation with Les Moonves, her husband, and she never showed up again. And now Sharon Osbourne, like, I don't know how much real talk is really going on here with anytime there's a controversy or a dust up, you guys just go on hiatus.
Well, and also how you talk about, it would be jarring to see Snoop Dogg without a joint in his mouth. Like, this is Ozzy Osbourne's wife.
Yes.
This is the whatever the show was called, Keeping Up with the Osbournes or whatever
She's
it
the
was.
Queen of Darkness.
That was the point of the show. These it's like, the English version of the Beverly Hillbillies moving to town, and they're, they have more money than they know what to do with, and they are very politically incorrect. It's Ozzy Osbourne's family, and we're shocked that Sharon has some sort of an whatever edgy, whatever.
Well, it's also like, yeah, she's bawdy, she's off color, she speaks her
Right.
mind,
Right.
she's if you're easily offended, don't hang out with Sharon Osbourne. Yeah, that's why you hired her.
Right.
That's how she made her bones, which is kind of an interesting.
Thank you for making that point, Ozzy. Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here with you, and I will lawyer up and I will win.
Is that Leah Thompson or?
Thank you. I just
No,
figured
that
I'd give
was
it a
good.
try.
I
Give it a try.
I went to their house and did a cooking segment once for MTV, as I recall.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to the Osbourne house, as I recall. That was one of my favorite conversations. I've had a lot of these conversations in my life, both personally and professionally, where I was explaining to Kelly Osbourne back when I was doing Loveline. I said, chicks don't know anything about World War II. And she was like, how dare you? And I was like, it's true. And she's like, I know everything about World War II.
Oh.
And I said, you do? And I said, how do you know everything about World War II? And she said, her dad, who was born shortly after the Blitz, likes to sit home and watch all those History Channel shows about Hitler and the Japanese and Pearl Harbor and all the rest. So she's an expert. And I said, okay, who fought in World War II? Give me the Allied and the Axis power. It's like, who was against who? And she's like, oh, that's a trick question. I said, that is the most basic question you could ask about a war.
Kind of the only question.
It's certainly the first question. We're not getting into Dunkirk or Battle of the Bulge at this point. We're just talking about who fought who. And I don't need to know what side Papua New Guinea was on. I'm just talking about the two major power players, like on each side. Who?
Weren't we talking about Germany, Japan, and Italy?
Yeah, and the U.S.
Any of those would have been acceptable.
I wasn't
Okay.
going to dip into China or, Australia or anything like that. I just wanted to know the basics, like the two basics. She announced it was an unfair question.
Oh.
And that she still knew everything about World War II. And then I said, you absolutely don't know anything about World War II, and you've proven my point. And then Drew kept saying to me, just leave it alone. And then I kept saying no. That was how that...
On brand for everybody.
Well, look, you announced you know everything about World War II. You could not come up with who participated in World War II. You need to walk the shit back, not announce it was a trick question. By the way, I start off like the guys do who do the lie detector test. Like, what is your full name? That's not the question. We're just trying to establish a fucking baseline here. I'm trying to calibrate the machine. I thought you were going to tell me, and then we could start getting into the more nuanced aspects of World War. Couldn't do that out of the gate. Said it was a trick question, and Drew wanted me to leave it alone. And I was like, I'm not leaving it alone. I made a proclamation. She proved my point, and she needs to apologize to me. All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
All right. Well, in all of this March madness, I want you guys to know something, and I wonder if Dr. Drew is aware of this, being a physician. It's known by urologists as vasectomy season. The NCAA tournament is a popular time for men to get a little snip because they can recover on the couch and watch all the games.
I thought you were talking about the athletes.
No, that would make
that's
sense
a smart
too.
move. Yeah, get your fucking shit snipped.
Many urologists come up with clever vasectomy promotions, but one practice in Virginia has caught the attention of the NCAA, and they're not super happy about it. The Virginia Urology Center has launched its vasectomy mayhem promotion for March. The NCAA believes the phrase is confusingly similar with March Mayhem, which is also trademarked by the NCAA, and they filed a trademark cancellation to stop them from using it. But since this is the time when everybody's getting snipped, you gotta, make yourself stand out.
Adam, I literally theorized years ago when the NBA players were having babies and they got broke paying for these kids' child support after their careers ended. I was like, why not spend 3 months donating sperm, putting in a cryo bank, and then get the vasectomy, and you can fuck all you want throughout your entire NBA career with no consequences. You'll have plenty of sperm to have a family later on down the road.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah, you sound like a guy who can't touch the bottom of the net, though, Brian. That's the problem. It's that kind of thinking is what's hurt your stroke from the three-point strike.
If someone handed me the net, I could very easily touch the bottom of it. Thank you very much.
All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, last but not least, we got Geico. Do you own? Do you rent your home? Well, you do one or the other. And then there's your automotive policy. How about you get your bundle happening at Geico? That's right. Go to geico.com and see just how much you could save when you bundle your homeowners or your renter's insurance along with your automotive policy. So go to Geico, get a quote, see just how fast, just how easy you could save a ton of dough at Geico. That is geico.com. All right, Nashville Zanies, April 14th. We're doing a live pod there. Appleton, Wisconsin, Skyline Comedy Club, May 7th and 8th, doing some stand-up and live pod there. You can go to adamcarolla.com for all you need, and you can check out our chassis station. Chassis station 585 at, what TV is that?
Pluto TV.
Pluto TV. That's too many new names in my head. Lots of content there. I want to thank Ryan Lochte and Jennifer Cohen for joining us today. And until next time, it's Adam for Ryan and Jennifer and Bald and Gina saying mahalo.